You think COVID is scary? Wrong. Beneath the Siberian permafrost lies something that could wipe out all of humanity in 72 hours. Do you think the virus will naturally disappear? Big mistake. Some viruses have been dormant under the ice for 50,000 years and are now waking up. In the year 2023, French scientists unearthed a monster from the permafrost, 48,500 years old, and it infected the entire lab's petri dishes within 3 hours of revival. What's more terrifying is that humans have no immunity to it because your ancestors never encountered it, and there are no defense codes in your genes. And now the Arctic is melting at the fastest rate in human history. For every degree of warming, 4 million square kilometers of permafrost begin to thaw. What does that mean? It's equivalent to the area of 56 United Kingdoms simultaneously opening Pandora's box. When scientists were drilling in Siberia, they discovered that the permafrost is like a natural refrigerator, containing not only viruses but also anthrax, smallpox, and even unknown pathogens without names. In 2016, a Russian town experienced the release of 75-year-old anthrax due to melting permafrost, resulting in the death of 2,300 reindeer overnight and 96 people being infected. And this is just a preview. But the situation is far more outrageous than you imagine. According to a study published in the authoritative international virology journal Viruses in the year 2023, scientists successfully isolated and revived 13 ancient viruses from permafrost samples at 7 different locations in Siberia. This is not some tabloid gimmick, this is a real scientific experiment. The ages of these viruses range from 27,000 to 48,500 years, spanning the entire late Pleistocene. Do you know what this means? When these viruses were frozen, mammoths were still walking the earth, Neanderthals had not yet completely gone extinct, and your ancestors had just learned to make fire with stones. These viruses have witnessed the entire process of human civilization from nothing to something. Now, they are awake. I have to be honest, the first time I saw this research, I also found it unbelievable. Scientists have given these viruses some fierce-sounding names: Pandora virus, megavirus, Cedrat virus, Pacman virus. Here's a fun fact for everyone. These ancient viruses are 1,000 times larger than the COVID-19 virus we are familiar with. The coronavirus is only about 100 nanometers, while these giant viruses can reach 1.5 micrometers, and you can see them with a regular optical microscope. But you might ask, since they are so big, why have we never heard of them before? Good question, because these viruses have a characteristic. They only infect amoebas. Yes, those single-celled organisms that move around in water. So, in a way, we are still relatively safe for now, temporarily. But wait, don't relax just yet. The anthrax incident in Siberia in 2016 was no joke. That summer, the temperature on the Yamal Peninsula in Siberia suddenly soared to 35 degrees Celsius, a full 10 degrees higher than in previous years. The permafrost began to melt on a large scale. A reindeer carcass buried for 75 years was exposed, and it carried anthrax bacteria, which can form spores and remain dormant for hundreds of years in extreme environments. In just 1 month, 2,300 reindeer died collectively, and 96 people were urgently hospitalized. A 12-year-old child closed their eyes forever. This was the consequence of just one carcass. Scientists have discovered that in northern Russia alone, there are over 7,000 reindeer burial sites. More than 1 million reindeer died of anthrax in the last century, all buried under permafrost. Now these ticking time bombs are thawing one by one. Some might say, are you just spreading anxiety? No, I am stating facts. A study published in 2022, scientists conducted an in-depth analysis of Siberian permafrost and discovered an astonishing fact. The permafrost microbiome contains a very high frequency of beta-lactamase genes, with almost 0.9 copies per bacterial genome. You might not know what beta-lactamase is. Simply put, it is the weapon bacteria used to fight against antibiotics. These bacteria have evolved over millions of years to survive in extreme environments, gaining super strong resistance. When these super bacteria encounter modern humans, our antibiotics may all become ineffective. Scientists predict that by the year 2030, the Arctic may experience its first completely ice-free summer. In the year 2022, a gold miner in the Yukon region of Canada hit a complete baby mammoth with a bulldozer. It was curled up, with long eyelashes still clearly visible, and its trunk slightly curled, as if it were asleep in its mother's arms. This little mammoth has been sleeping in the ice for 30,000 years, but behind these adorable discoveries lies a deeper crisis. The bodies of these prehistoric animals may carry pathogens that we are completely unaware of. Speaking of which, I suddenly thought of a question to ask everyone. If one day these ancient viruses start infecting humans, how long do you think we could last? Leave your answer in the comments. Okay, let's continue. The most terrifying thing is that viruses can mutate, and their mutation rate is very fast, adapting to the environment, host, immune conditions, external factors such as stimulation can lead to gene recombination at any time. The fact that these viruses do not currently infect humans does not mean they won't in the future. Moreover, according to research published in a certain year, scientists successfully extracted DNA fragments of the smallpox virus from the remains of a body in Siberian permafrost from years ago. Smallpox, the supervirus that once killed hundreds of millions, was officially declared eradicated in a certain year, but its ghost remains buried beneath the permafrost. Imagine if these smallpox viruses were to be revived. What would happen? Modern people have basically not been vaccinated against smallpox, and if it reappears, we would have almost no herd immunity. In a certain year, Japanese scientists discovered a tiny organism called a rotifer in ice core samples drilled from the Antarctic seabed, which had been dormant in the ice for thousands of years. When scientists melted the ice, a chilling scene appeared under the microscope. These rotifers began to wriggle, their cilia started to move, their mouths opened and closed, and then they began to feed. Just 24 hours later, they started to reproduce. This is the first time humans have confirmed that complex multicellular organisms can survive in a frozen state and revive after tens of thousands of years. This completely overturns our understanding of the limits of life. If even complex organisms like rotifers can be revived, what about viruses and bacteria? Their structures are simpler and they are more resilient, making the possibility of their revival even higher. Now the question arises, what should we do? Scientists are taking action, establishing specialized monitoring systems to track the melting rate of permafrost. But to be honest, these efforts seem somewhat powerless in the face of climate change. Scientists predict that by the year 2100, 70% of the permafrost in the northern hemisphere will disappear. This means that organisms, viruses, and ancient carbon elements sealed for millions of years will re-enter the atmosphere. Finally, I want to say, this is not a science fiction movie, this is the reality that is happening. Every year, as the Earth's temperature rises, more permafrost melts, revealing more ancient secrets. And these life forms that have been dormant in the ice for tens of thousands of years are slowly awakening. We are standing at a crossroads of time, with the infinite possibilities of scientific research on one side and the enormous risks of unknown threats on the other. And what determines which side we go towards is not these ancient viruses, but ourselves, our attitude towards climate change, our protection of the earth, and our choices for the future. Remember, the permafrost in Siberia not only holds the past, but also concerns our future. Those viruses frozen in ice may be nature's final warning to us. What we need to do is not panic, but take action.